Mark, 30 seconds until airtime. Once again, stations, if you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out. The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is a new week in the Willamette Valley, and Oregon athletics are rolling forward. The end of the regular season for Oregon softball and Oregon track and field over the weekend. Senior day at Hayward Field for Oregon track and field, as well as the start of postseason play for Oregon women's golf. Just got back into the clubhouse after round one at the Auburn Regional, and Oregon baseball took the series against Utah over the weekend. The team that came in first place in the conference, the Utah Utes. Not first place anymore after Oregon took 2 out of 3 against Utah over the weekend. Also, the surplus sale on Saturday. I think maybe the best turnout we've ever had for the surplus sale. It was a long, long line outside of, it started at the HGC and the Mashofsky Center. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, you're seeing it right now on YouTube, Facebook. It stretched all the way from the HGC, all the way from the Mashofsky Center, around Autzen Stadium, all the way to the east side of Autzen, basically at PK Park. I showed up for baseball on Saturday morning. I got to the ballpark around 9 o'clock for an 11 o'clock first pitch for baseball. I could not find a spot to park. That's how many people were out at the surplus sale. Great job, Oregon fans, coming through, taking away all of that extra inventory, getting some great helmets, some great shirts, some great apparel. I saw so much on social media. Thanks to everyone who stood out there, braved the rain. Less than ideal conditions over the weekend, impacting a whole lot of different things around Eugene, but thanks for being out there. Thanks for coming to the surplus sale. And I know one of you, I don't know who it is yet. I haven't seen it online, but I know that one of you got the exclusive Generation O box for Oregon football, the new uniforms for Oregon football. There have been little teases here, little tease there. Someone got a little extra exclusive because there was a Generation O box, a one of one for a lucky fan at the surplus sale. I haven't seen it. Whichever fan got it, I haven't seen it. You might be right to actually gatekeep it. It is exclusive. It is ideal. Knight Uretsky's raising his hand. He thinks he got it. I know that Knight didn't get it. Knight was down in Stanford with softball over the weekend. Couldn't have been Knight. Someone got it. I don't know who, but whoever did, one of many, many, many fans who came out to the HGC, to the Mashofsky Center, and were part of the surplus sale. So great event, and I'm really happy to see everybody that came out and supported to get some of that extra inventory off our hands and into your closets. Yes. Also, Oregon lacrosse, their season came to an end last week in the Pac-12 tournament, lost to Arizona State, but individual honors are in order because Haley Cummings was named to the All-Pac-12 tournament team for Oregon lacrosse, getting some postseason honors after Morgan McCarthy was named the Pac-12 midfielder of the year in the conference. So Jess Drummond, her first year with Oregon lacrosse, that continues to be successful more and more as we continue to get these accolades coming in for Oregon lacrosse. We're going to break down Oregon women's golf and what they're doing down in Auburn to start off their postseason. Oregon softball, they took their regular season finale against a top 10 Stanford Cardinal team over the weekend. Oregon track and field was at Hayward Field for senior day for the Ducks on the track and field side of things, but we're going to start breaking down baseball because it was a really pivotal baseball series for Oregon coming into the weekend. Going up against Utah, the Ducks were a few games back in the conference. Oregon could really play themselves into Pac-12 contention this week. And that's really exactly what the Ducks did. It was either win the series and stay in the race or lose the series and you're out of the race. Well, Oregon won the series, and here's how they got it done. First off, no game on Friday due to the rain, due to the weather here in the Willamette Valley. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for the adjusted time. I know that it was a little bit close to first pitch, 5 o'clock, ahead of a 6 o'clock scheduled first pitch on Friday when the game was decided to be postponed and a doubleheader would be in order on Saturday. So thank you fans who were bearing with us, who came back for Saturday's game. Beers and Brews, that got canceled on Friday. That will be rescheduled for not this upcoming Thursday, but the next home game on Thursday against Washington State in 2 weeks in the next home game that Oregon has at PK Park. That's when brews and baseball will be had at PK Park. So that's when you all can schedule to be at PK against Washington State. If you had a brews and baseball ticket, that will be redeemable for that Thursday. So everything's still in order for brews and baseball moving forward. It's just going to be slated back 2 weeks to next home series against Washington State. How did it start for Oregon on the baseball diamond against Utah? Well, it was R.J. Gordon, the Friday man for the Ducks, going against a lefty for Utah named Van Sickle, who came into the game without a loss. He has been one of the stronger pitchers in the Pac-12, and Oregon really capitalized early against Van Sickle due to some uncharacteristic mistakes by the left-hander. Wildness with a hit-by-pitch and a wild pitch that surrounded a Drew Smith single in the first inning and created a scoring opportunity for Jacob Walsh. He put one on the ground to the right side, drove in Chase Meggers. Oregon gets the early lead by a 1-0 score. Then Utah answered in the third and the fourth inning with 2 spots, 4-1 Utah. Ducks got down, but the same way that Oregon responded against Oregon State last weekend was the exact same way that Oregon responded against Utah this weekend, where it was immediate. In the bottom of the fourth inning, the first 2 Ducks got out, but then a 2-out rally, a single by Mason Neville set the table for Bryce Betcher, and Rob Mullins was in the booth with us for this first game, and he was there when Bryce Betcher hit this home run. I just want for all of you to experience the moment in the booth and what happened at PK Park when Bryce Betcher hit this blast.
Football is just because they're kind of year-round training sports.
Betcher rips one deep to left field, going back. Yeah! Betcher with another home run. He had 2 on Tuesday. He gets his 9th of the year. A 2-run shot to left makes it 4-3. I absolutely love that reaction from Rob Mullins on the home run. That visceral, yeah! He was ready. He was in the booth. It was a huge momentum swing, and it was the continuation of a power surge for Bryce Betcher. Betcher against Oregon State hit a home run in his last at-bat on Sunday. Then he hit 2 home runs on Tuesday. Then After he stung one to the left center gap, it was caught in his second at-bat on Saturday, hit another home run. Those were 4 home runs in his last 3 games. Spoiler alert, Bryce Betcher wasn't done for the weekend. Yeah, that's coming up later in today's show. But that 2-run home run by Bryce Betcher in Game 1 of the doubleheader made it 4-3, put the Ducks within 1. And then in the bottom of the 5th, a Drew Smith single again sets the table for Jacob Walsh, and Jacob Walsh left the yard to right center field. The 17th home run of the season for Jacob Walsh, the 39th of the career. Jacob Walsh continues to expand on his program lead as a career record holder on the home run list, and now he's in a tie for second place in single season home runs for the Ducks with 17. It ties him with Kenyon Yovan, puts him 1 home run shy of Sabine Ceballos' program record last year, where he set the mark at 18. There's still 2 weeks left in the regular season and all of postseason. Jacob Walsh has a lot of time. That 2-run home run in Saturday's game, Oregon didn't have a lot of time in Saturday's game, and Jacob Walsh really turned the tides. Both of the 2-run home runs by Walsh and Betcher, a 4-run swing, put Oregon from a 4-1 deficit to a 5-4 lead, and then it was moving forward a game that really settled down. R.J. Gordon left after 5 in line for the win. Ryan Featherston came in 6th and 7th inning through 2 shutout frames. Both of the offenses went a little bit stagnant. But then in the 7th, this was where the chess game really came into play. Jacob Walsh's single in between 2 groundouts put him on second base with 2 outs. Coach Wasikowski went to the bench and pinch hit Anson Arrows in for Dominic Hellman, who came through with an RBI single up the middle, made it 6-4 Oregon. Very next batter, Justin Casella, he comes in after a defensive replacement, his first at-bat of the ballgame. A double to left field, scores Anson Arrows all the way from first. That made it 7-4 Oregon. Bradley Mullen came in the 8th, ran into some trouble as he started the 9th. Logan Mercado came in, closed out the 9th, shut the door after 1 run came through in the inning. 7-5, Oregon wins Game 1. Then Game 2. 45 minutes in between Game 1 and Game 2. Grayson Grinsell versus Merritt Jones on the hill. That was the matchup. Grayson Grinsell got through a clean first. Then in the bottom of the first inning, first 2 Ducks ground out. Another 2-out rally. Jacob Walsh singles. Jeffrey Hurd walks. Maddox Maloney singles. Put the bases loaded with 2 down in the first. And it was a day, all day, that was impacted by weather conditions. If you were here in Eugene, you knew it. It was raining. It was raining hard over the weekend, and there weren't many stoppages. There was only 1, but it came with Oregon having the bases loaded in the bottom of the first. You think, wow, delay in this spot, it might shift the momentum. First off, big shout out to Kenny Hoffman's crew, the grounds crew here for Oregon. Did such a great job keeping great care of the mound. There was no slippage. There was no injuries on the hill for either side over the weekend. It was a really, really strong job. So much, in fact, that Kenny Hoffman won the player of the game for this game, too. And I talk about momentum coming out of a weather delay. It was only about a 10-minute break in the action. But Anson Arrows comes up, bases loaded, 2 outs. It wasn't a clean inning for Merritt Jones, as he couldn't handle it even when the weather cell kind of moved past. He still lost a little bit of that control. 2 wild pitches ended up resulting in multiple runs in the inning. For Oregon, it was a 2-0 Oregon lead after the first. And then both pitchers really settled down. No one scored until the 5th. Bottom of the 5th inning, Bryce Betcher walks. Chase Megger's infield single. Jacob Walsh hit by pitch. Some small ball. Loaded the bases. 2 outs in the inning again. Jeffrey Hurd comes to the plate. 2 RBI double expands Oregon's lead to 4-0. Rob Mullins came back to the booth ahead of that inning. He was in the booth for both plays of the game on Saturday. The play of the game in Game 1, the Bryce Betcher homer, and the play of the game in Game 2, the 2 RBI double by Jeffrey Hurd. Both of them with Rob Mullins in the booth. Rob, you're welcome back anytime. Something about luck. I don't know, maybe just a good omen. Both teams then exchanged some runs going down the stretch in the 6th inning, made it a 5-1 lead for Oregon, and that's how it closed out. Brock Moore came in, 3 scoreless frames for the Ducks. He put in some strong work for Oregon in those innings, and he has now built his way up in 2 outings. In his last 2 outings, he's gone 3 innings. He struck out 8 consecutive against Oregon State, shut the door with 3 scoreless against Utah. He's starting to be stretched out a little bit, and he has been really, really effective. Oregon swept the doubleheader. Coach Wazakowski had thoughts. We're getting to those after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Back here inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. On YouTube, Steve asks about Shout and why on baseball games Shout kind of overruns into the game and has to be cut off. Well, Shout for football, because football breaks are longer than, say, baseball breaks, or I'll just use those two sports as an example. For football, you get about 3.5 minutes in between play. You can play all of Shout. For baseball, it's only about a minute and a half between when one inning closes and the next inning starts. So that's why the entire song cannot be played and sometimes gets cut off. But we still want the fans to experience the energy of Shout inside of PK Park. And that middle of the 8th inning provides so much impact, and it really gave the Ducks a boost on Sunday. We'll get to Sunday for baseball, but we just broke down Saturday and the doubleheader. And Coach Wazakowski, he had some thoughts after his team swept a really treacherous weather condition-laden Saturday. So here's Coach Waz after the 2 games that Oregon took down over Utah on Saturday.
Took both games today. Just how do you feel like the team did overall?
Good. We won 2 games. That was the goal. They did it. I was proud of the team that I coached. They did a nice job and fighting a lot of tough adversity, and it was good to see them do that.
What goes into the preparation for a day where you're able to win a series in the span of 7 hours?
I mean, we prepare all week. In terms of the preparation that goes into a week, it's pretty immense. It's a lot. But the guys played well. I don't think it was perfect or clean or anything like that. It's a real challenge when the conditions were the way they were. So to come out with 2 wins when the conditions were like they were is really good.
If you're able to counterpunch too, whenever whenever they scored, it seemed like you guys were able to answer for the most part and feel good about the response that way.
Yeah, I mean, clutch with Chase Maggers getting that hit at the end. I thought that was really big. We had a chance to tack on and add on. I thought a couple other times and might have come up a little short with that. But, there was some gritty at-bats for us to be able to get to that point, which was good. And I thought that his extension of the lead was at a critical time.
What do you think of Grayson today? Goes 6, allows 7 hits, but keeps guys from scoring only 1 earned.
Really good, really good. And he was able to control the running game, which is what one of Utah's strengths. And so for him to kind of take the steam out of that, a lead helps too when it comes to taking the steam out of somebody's running game. So, having a lead and then having Grayson do what he did, I thought he pitched exceptionally well, and then Brockmore coming in and doing what he's doing now lately is really, I mean, that's not easy to pitch in a driving rainstorm for either side, and I was proud of our guys for doing that.
Just the 1 run from the bullpen today in the 2 games combined. What'd you see from your relievers today?
A lot of strikes, a lot of toughness.
Brock's had 2 of those performances this week, earlier against Oregon State. How do you feel like he's kind of coming into a groove here after dealing with the injury earlier in the year?
Yeah, I mean, he's come back from being on the DL really well, and so it's good to have him, and it's good to have, we didn't use Jackson Jordan today. He was clearly available, and that's good to have him for tomorrow, as well as basically a couple other fresh pieces down there tomorrow, and so. We should have some bullets left for the final game.
Obviously, you want to go into Sunday with a chance to sweep. You've been kind of looking for your team to take advantage of an opportunity in that situation. Just how eager are you to see how your guys respond tomorrow and try to go about finishing this off?
Well, I mean, we'll see what the response is. We've had it teed up a couple of different times this year, and we haven't been able to get them to pull that off. I think Arizona, we had an opportunity to sweep them, and we weren't able to pull that off. And maybe a couple other times, and so we'll see. I know the first weekend of the year at the Arlington tournament, we had a chance to sweep through that tournament, and that would have been awfully fun, and we were in the position to do that, and weren't able to do it. So, 2 out of 3, can't grumble about it, but I'd like to see this group continue to grow and be able to finish off something like that.
With that opportunity, what are you looking for specifically from Kevin tomorrow?
Well, I mean, what he's done lately has been plenty good enough. I mean, a lot of strikes, throwing multiple pitches for strikes and being composed. He's had a lot of success because he's pitched old. He's probably going to have to deal with some stuff again tomorrow, from what I understand. I mean, this storm just kind of sit in the valley for the last several days, and it is what it is. And so, our credit to our grounds crew for them to be able to keep us playing injury-free, no slips on the mound. The pitchers from both sides were able to throw and pitch effectively. And really, overall, it was a clean game, to be honest. And so, credit to both teams. They played pretty clean baseball for as sloppy of a day it was.
Coach Wells, I can't let you go without asking your thoughts on Van Sickle. The way you guys handled him today, and getting a W, giving him his first W, or his first loss of the year, I should say.
Boy, it's a good question. He's really good, and I think he was probably one of the most underrated pitchers, maybe even in the country. I don't know, but I sure haven't seen any articles written on the guy. And that guy is just good. He's a 90 to 92 mile an hour lefty. Sometimes it goes down to 87, but I think he does that intentionally and changes speeds on his fastball. His breaking ball is a really sharp breaking ball, and his change is a really effective pitch as well. He's composed. Labette County Community College, not many probably know where that is, but that kid is a tough kid. And to be able to beat that guy, that's something that's really special. He's a tough pitcher, and we knew he was going to be tough coming in. Coach Henderson's done a tremendous job with this Utah club. These guys can really pitch, and he's got a lot of bullets down there, and his bullpen's fresh. He's actually got a couple of really big pieces in his bullpen, and they're fresh for tomorrow.
You feel like you guys are starting to find a little bit of a rhythm offensively? I know you're probably going to say.
I didn't feel like the last, today was a rhythm day at all. I think that was just a toughness day. I don't think it was much of a rhythm. It felt really kind of clunky to me. I didn't feel like it was a deal where guys were really getting into an offensive rhythm or any kind of rhythm. It was just a clunky day, probably just because of the way it was outside.
What's it mean for you guys? Again, like you pointed out, Van Sickle, you're in 5 earned runs. That's the most he's allowed in conference play. Even though it wasn't a rhythm day, how does it feel like to have an offense that'll still go through and put up runs and give you 2 wins?
Good. That's the objective of the day, is to get the wins, and we were able to do it.
With conference realignment being a big topic across all sports, what's it kind of like for you as a coach to get your last look at some of these Pac-12 teams?
Well, I think we'll continue to play some of these Pac-12 teams. I mean, I sure don't want to stop playing against Oregon State. There's no reason why we should. It's great for the fans. It's great for the people. It's great for competition. I mean, I want to play against the best. And so if Utah continues to grow their program, boy, I'd love to be able to play against Utah. And if Arizona or Arizona State are the best, and boy, I'd love to play against them too. Whoever the best are, we want to try to compete with those people. And I think the West Coast has gotten knocked a little bit for the balance, the competitive balance that you see on the West Coast. And I don't think that's right. But again, it's just one man's opinion. Everybody's got them. And so my opinion is there's a lot of really good baseball on the West Coast. And I think it shows when you show up to the ballpark and you see the quality of play, throughout the conference, even all the way down to last night's ball game where Arizona State beats Washington. Boy, that was a heck of a ball game. And those are two really good teams, even though they, a lot of people have not talked much about those guys either.
We talk a lot about Bryce Boettcher, and rightfully so, but what's it kind of been like the last couple of days to have him as a guy who's leading your offense out of the 8-hole, out of the 9-hole, wherever he is in the order?
Well, and today I don't think he didn't have any, in the second game he didn't have any real big hits, but he was able to advance a runner with a sacrifice bunt that ends up scoring one of the insurance runs we've already talked about. He's a team player. He's doing everything that he can to help your team win. He didn't really get challenged in the outfield at all. I think in the first game he might have robbed another home run, which is, another home run. I don't know how many home runs he's robbed. It's crazy. But, the kid is a worker, and he does it. The most amazing thing isn't what he does on game day. It's what he does on practice days. To see that kid on the football field, when I've gone out and watched Coach Lanning's football practices and what he does out there, and then on the same day come out and do the things that he does on the baseball field is really something that I can't get my brain around, and I'm sure a lot of the other athletes that are his teammates probably go, wow, this is crazy.
I agree. I also think it's crazy what Bryce Boettcher is doing because he did it on Saturday. He also took away a home run on Saturday defensively. And then now we're getting into Sunday's game. Spoiler alert, Bryce Boettcher played a pretty big part with the power number in this game as well. So on Sunday, it was Kevin Sider who got the ball for Oregon, but it was Utah who got the early lead in the top of the first inning. Then Oregon answered back in the second inning. It was a Maddox Maloney home run, his 7th of the year. That's a freshman program record for Oregon. 7 home runs for Maddox Maloney. It breaks a tie with his current freshman teammate, Ryan Cooney. It breaks a tie with his current junior teammate, Jacob Walsh, who hit 6 in his freshman year 2 years ago. It also breaks a tie with Johnny DeLuca. I don't think that Johnny DeLuca was too upset about his record being broken because about an hour after Maddox Maloney hit that home run, Johnny DeLuca, who's now a member of the Tampa Bay Rays in the 10th inning with runners on first and third down a run, hit a ball that got past the center fielder, ended up scoring both, and it was a walk-off for Tampa Bay. So, you lost a share of the Oregon record. Walk it off for your major league team. I'm sure that Johnny DeLuca is also happy. Great to see Pro Duck succeeding and winning games at the professional level as well. Then in the bottom of the third, it was another solo home run for Oregon. Justin Casella. He's been off to a little bit of a slow start since he's been back from injury. The first at-bat he had of Saturday getting the double, and now on Sunday, hitting a ball that it didn't deflect off of the face of the scoreboard. It deflected off of the top of the scoreboard. Like the top of it. The top of the scoreboard. Yeah, it was hit really hard and far to left. One of those no doubt home runs put Oregon up 2-1 early. But then a Utah big inning in the fourth made it 4-2 after Utah put up a 3-run frame in that inning to take the lead back. Oregon answered with a wild pitch in the fifth, 4-3. The score went where Oregon was down by 1. Also, a little bit of a scare in that inning. There was a foul ball hit to left field. There was some traffic between the Utah left fielder and an Oregon fan beyond the fence. Ball ended up, some hands were tangled, ball ended up coming down, hit the fan. Last word we got was that the fan was taken away by the paramedics as a precautionary measure. Looked to be okay over on the side. Good to see him okay after he got struck by a foul ball. Also just keep aware. He was ready. He brought his glove to the ballpark. That was an extenuating circumstance where some hands got tangled up, ball came down in between a few gloves, and that's really difficult. But if you are at PK Park, if you are at the ballpark, make sure to stay engaged, make sure to stay aware, make sure you know where the ball is at all times. You're in the field of play even though you are in the stand, so make sure you got your head on a swivel. Don't want to see that happen any more often than it has to, because that was a scary moment at PK Park. Glad to hear that everybody is okay after that. 4-3 the score at that point. Then we go to the 8th inning. Utah put up 4 runs in the 8th. It was a big inning for the Utes. It could have gone either way, really. A 10-pitch walk in the inning where Logan Mercado, he came in relief. He got up in the count 0-2. But foul ball, few balls around, and a 10-pitch walk extended the inning, and then with the bases loaded and 2 outs, a bases-clearing double made it 4 runs in the frame for Utah, made it a 5-run Ute lead, and we're in the booth thinking, it's a big deficit to come back from. Well, Oregon came out with some fire in the bottom of the 8th. 2 quick outs in the bottom of the inning, but then 2 free passes put men aboard. Coach Waz goes to the bench again. Another chess move brings out Bennett Thompson off the bench to pinch hit for Carter Garate. Thompson hits a 3-run home run off the bench, put Oregon within 2. Very next batter, Bryce Betcher hits a solo home run to put Oregon within 1, made it 8-7. That means that Bryce Betcher in his last 5 games has 5 home runs. He hit 1 in his last at-bat on Sunday, 2 on Tuesday, 1 in the first game on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. He's raking. Yeah, Bryce Betcher is absolutely on fire offensively for Oregon. He's got a nice glove out in center field as well. Utah put up 1 more run in the 9th, closed it out with a 9-7 win on Sunday. Oregon dropped their only game against a team that came into the weekend leading the Pac-12 Conference. Coach Wazikowski, he had his thoughts post-game Sunday after a series win, but after a Sunday loss. Here's Coach Waz.
Would you make of your team battling back there?
Well, they show a lot of fight. Just didn't have enough with, the free bases that we gave them were pretty expensive. I think the Jackson kid, he's difference maker swing right there with, 2-strike pitch in the left center field gap. Those are tremendous at-bat by their best player. And so I tip my hat to him. But, I mean, the fight that the team showed, they compete until the end.
Maddox set a new freshman record today with his 7th home run. What can you say about the season he's having?
Really good. Our freshmen, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I really like our freshman class. They're really good players.
You're 3 back with 6 to play. Just how do you feel about the way you're positioned in this race? I don't know, are you even thinking kind of big picture at all?
I'm not thinking about that right now. We're disappointed in how the game finished.
And the sweep eludes you guys here. Is this getting at all frustrating at this point to get up 2-0 in a series and then lose the 3rd?
Yeah, extremely frustrating. Yeah.
I feel like you saw the attitude you wanted to see from your guys when you got to the park today. Saw the fight. You mentioned the fight late. Did you feel like you saw that fight right from the start?
I won't comment on it.
What did Sider do today to give you guys a chance down the line?
I don't think Kevin had his best game at all. I mean, they got to him pretty good. I think they had 7 hits through 4 innings. Through 4 innings, they had 7 hits, and it was a little bit loose. I felt like he had a good fastball early in the game. I didn't feel like his breaking ball was as sharp as it normally has been. And that's probably why they were able to get to him a couple of times with 2 strikes.
You think about leaving Featherston out there for the 8th instead of bringing in Mercado for the final 2 innings?
Not necessarily. I mean, Ryan threw, they kind of changed roles from yesterday. One threw a little bit more than the other yesterday. And so he had an inning in him. That's what he had. And so, no, he was very effective in that inning. And Ryan pitched very, very well today. It was good to see.
The pinch hitters this weekend have had a lot of success. What does that say about the depth that your team has?
Well, I think it says something about their readiness to come off the bench and be productive, too. I mean, there's good players. We know we got a lot of good players, but it's a really hard thing to do is to pinch hit and come in late in the game and be ready to go. I mean, and so for those guys to be ready to go, it's a credit to those guys, and the pinch hitting was very good this weekend.
Particularly a guy like Bennett. I mean, his role has changed a little bit right now compared to maybe a few weeks ago. Particularly for him, shows some maturity to come through in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, he had a huge at-bat for us, 3-run home run on a pinch hit. He's a leader. He's a guy that we need down the stretch, and we need to, hopefully that gets him going and gets him going in the right direction. It'd be great.
our first look at Cooney over at third base. We've seen him as a defensive replacement at second a lot, but first time I've seen him at third. How do you feel about his versatility on that whole infield?
Cooney's a really good player. I think a while ago one of the media was asking me about Cooney setting a freshman record for home runs and stuff, and he's just really good. Him and Maloney are really, really good infielders, and he's flexible to play anywhere on the infield.
You see him in that role going forward, playing more third?
Yeah, all these kids can play all over the place, so yes.
Looking at this weekend as a whole, just what are your takeaways kind of heading into the last stretch of Pac-12 play before the tournament?
Haven't thought about the tournament. We're trying to win the league. We're disappointed in the fact that we weren't able to sweep the team that came in here in first place, and we win a series and we're disappointed. So, the standard's high, obviously, when you win a series and your guys are really disappointed. And so I'm glad that that's the standard here, but at the same point in time, I haven't thought in advance about much yet.
Standard is high, and there was a little bit of disappointment after the Sunday loss for Oregon. Looking to complete a sweep. Oregon hasn't swept a team this season so far throughout the year, but the Ducks still have opportunities, and they're still in the hunt in Pac-12 play. When you look at the Pac-12 standings at this point in the season, Oregon is right in the mix. It's Arizona at the top of the table at 17-7. Then it's Utah at 15-9, Oregon State at 14-9 because they have one less game played due to a canceled Sunday game against USC earlier in the season. And then Oregon at 14-10. So where it stands is it's Arizona, and then it's Utah 2 games back of the Wildcats, Oregon State a half game back of Utah, and the Ducks a half game back of Oregon State. However, when you look at what is going on moving forward in conference play, Oregon has Washington and Washington State coming up to close out their Pac-12 season. That's the number 9 and 10th ranked team in the conference. Arizona has to play both Utah and Oregon State down the stretch. The Ducks are 3 games back of the Wildcats. Oregon has the tiebreaker against Arizona and the tiebreaker against Utah. There are scenarios for Oregon to get into the mix and for Oregon to still take the conference. What it would probably mean is that Utah and Oregon State, they play UCLA and USC in their one Pac-12 series outside of Arizona. You're probably rooting for the Trojans and the Bruins to take one away from Utah or Oregon State. You're rooting for Oregon. The Ducks are going to have to sweep at least one, if not both, of the series against the Washington schools to have a chance to take that Pac-12 crown. So looking for Oregon to get over that sweep hump, and you're looking for Arizona to struggle just a little bit, and really a whole lot of muddy waters between the Wildcats, the Utes, and the Beavers moving down the stretch. 6 games to play. Oregon's 3 games back, but Arizona has a really tough conference schedule down the stretch run. Ducks are still in it, going forward to the Pac-12 tournament. Oregon softball is in the Pac-12 tournament. Breaking down their weekend against the Cardinal, they're staying on the Bay as the Pac-12 tournament is going to be at Stanford. Breaking down the weekend and the regular season finale for Oregon softball coming back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. Just broke down Oregon baseball in their pivotal Pac-12 series. Oregon softball had an equally pivotal Pac-12 series down the stretch run of the season, going up against a top 10 Stanford team. Not in first place in the conference, a second place Cardinal going into the weekend, and it was 3 really competitive games, I thought. And when the pitchers were on, the pitchers were really dealing over the weekend. It was some of the highest leverage pitching performance throughout, really, I thought maybe the entire Pac-12 conference. The series between UCLA and Stanford early in the year, I thought was a matchup where you saw good pitching every game. I thought that this matchup between Oregon and Stanford in the final series of the regular season was another one where it was just really high-quality pitching across the board. On Friday, Oregon got up to a 3-0 lead early, and then a little bit of a defensive miscue sparked a big inning for Oregon, and Stanford, 3 home runs late in the ball game, ended up stretching out on Friday. They got the 7-3 win there. Then on Saturday, Oregon ended up dropping that game 3-1, but the Ducks got up 1-0 early, and that's because Ariel Carlson hit a home run. Her 15th of the year. She is now the first player in program history to have a 15-15 season. 15 home runs, 15 stolen bases for Ariel Carlson as she continues to make a strong campaign for Pac-12 Player of the Year. Ariel Carlson is firmly in the mix and helped out Oregon on Saturday, but the rest of the offense didn't come. 3 runs on the board for Stanford was all it took on Saturday. Well, Ariel Carlson also scored a run on Sunday. It was the only run scored of the game. The Ducks, they only needed 1 in the first inning from Ariel Carlson on Sunday. It wasn't the long ball. It was small ball, and it was craftiness from Coach Lombardi on a delayed double steal in the first. Emma Kauf goes to second base. Ariel Carlson waits, goes home. Kauf gets into a rundown. Kauf eventually gets tagged out. Doesn't matter. Oregon's already scored. It's 1-0, and that's all the run support that Elise Sokolsky needed. She was absolutely awesome. Awesome. 7 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 3 base runners for Elise Sokolsky on Sunday. Outdueled a combination of Reagan Krause and Nigeri Kennedy, 2 really strong pitchers, 2 top 5 pitchers in the conference in terms of earned run average. Elise Sokolsky outdueled them both by herself. Strong weekend, strong statement to beat a top 10 team on the road on a Sunday to close out the regular season, headed in to now the Pac-12 tournament. Coach Lombardi, she had some strong things to say from the farm post-game. Oregon staying down there as the Pac-12 tournament is starting on Wednesday. Oregon will play their first game on Thursday. Coach Lombardi, some momentum headed into that tournament.
We're here with Coach Melissa Lombardi. And Coach, real nice win today to finish out the regular season and take some momentum into the postseason Pac-12 tournament.
Yes, definitely. It was huge for us to come and get that win. We wanted to get the win today.
Talk a little bit about the first inning, creativeness to score some run. You get back-to-back hits from Ariel. Emma chases her around to third, and then you put on the plate that you've been practicing since the fall.
Yes, we work on our first and third plays. Probably every day at practice. So to manufacture our run and our only run with the first and third play, it was pretty awesome.
And that was important because you're playing a team like Stanford. Every run's going to be important, and to be able to successfully execute a play like that had to give the team a lift.
Definitely, it did. Today it was getting 1 run and 1 run only, and then understanding how to shut down with our defense and with our pitching on the mound.
Probably one of the best performances we've seen out of Elise Sokolsky. Complete game shutout, 2-hitter. She retired 13 in a row at one point. Just talk a little bit about her performance today.
Just gritty. You know, I don't think she really got what she wanted yesterday, and then to get an opportunity to get the ball again today, you can see her make her adjustments, really do a good job of attacking the hitters, changing speeds, and then just had some great defense behind her.
Yeah, it looked like you could see that, you know, once the defense kind of saw what she was doing there, they really responded and had some really sharp plays today, both in the infield and the outfield.
Yes, we had some balls in the outfield where the wind was blowing today. They were able to track down, and then I just loved the double play ball that Liz made, and I think it was a 6. It was huge. There could have been some big momentum there, and it got shut down.
Yeah, and then, you know, what does it mean to go into the Pac-12 tournament with a win and just, you know, knowing who you're going to play and as the 3 seed, and it's just really all about momentum.
It is about momentum, and you need that going into postseason. So to come off a big win like that, a 1-0 win, to me it takes us into postseason, and it puts us in a good place, and it shows us that tough, gritty games like that we can come out on top.
That's Coach Lombardi after the Sunday win on the farm against the Cardinal, a top 10 team, a top 25 matchup. The pitcher that threw a complete game shutout, Elise Sokolsky. That's who we're talking to after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back here inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano holding you through today's show. Elise Sokolsky held you through the entire game on Sunday for Oregon softball. A 1-0 win for the Ducks, where Sokolsky went 7 innings of shutout ball, allowing just 3 base runners on 2 hits and a walk with 6 strikeouts. Hearing from the star pitcher that shut it down in the regular season finale from Stanford, Elise Sokolsky.
We're here with today's winning pitcher, Elise Sokolsky. 2-hit shutout of number 6 Stanford. Elise, how did it feel out there today?
Yeah, you know, it was good. It was a good comeback win, and I think the team just really needed it. So,
after the first 2 days, you had a chance to get both games. It was a little disappointment. How important was it to get the win today?
I think it was just really important just to show the team that we can win any way. There's no one specific way that we're supposed to win. So if it means putting up one run on the board, then I'm going to try to do my job. And if it means putting up however many runs on the board, just getting it done.
What was working for you out there today? What were you feeling? What pitches were you feeling really good about?
I feel like it was a good combo, just keeping all the batters off balance because they didn't really know what was coming. So just being able to mix it, a little bit of change, a little bit of rise, a little bit of whatever we want to call it. So.
Yeah, Emma said you kind of just did a good job of keeping Stanford, never letting them get comfortable in the box, I should say. Was that kind of the goal and something you were successful at doing today?
For sure. I think when they get comfortable, that's whenever they start getting on base. So, just keeping them off the bases is what's most important, especially with like a great hitting team like them. So,
Yeah, and then how's it feel taking a little momentum into the Pac-12 tournament here?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's really good to go into Pac-12 tournament with a win.
Really great to go into the Pac-12 tournament with a win. What does the Pac-12 tournament look like? We have the bracket for Oregon, the Ducks. This tournament starts on Wednesday. Ducks don't have to play on Wednesday. That's the good news. Oregon, they don't have to play on Wednesday. That game will be Oregon State, Arizona State. That's on the other side of the bracket. Oregon will be the early game on Thursday against Utah. So the Ducks secured the 3 seed as Oregon has the tiebreaker with Washington. Both teams finished with the same conference record. So the Ducks on the 3 seed playing Utah at 10 a.m. in Game 2. So it's 3-6 Oregon, Utah. They're on the same side as the bracket as number 2 Stanford and number 7 Cal. If Oregon takes care of business and it goes chalk through the first round, could be a potential rematch against the Cardinal. And Oregon baseball last week, they lost their first 2 against Oregon State, and then they won the Sunday and the midweek against the Beavers. Oregon softball is hoping to do the same thing against the Cardinal on the softball diamond as the Ducks looking to move forward. This tournament will be held in Stanford. It was down in Tucson last year. It's a roaming location, so it'll be at Stanford this year. A little home field advantage for the Cardinal. Didn't matter for the Ducks on Sunday as Oregon got the win. That's what's coming up in postseason play. Coach Lombardi's squad staying down on the farm. Didn't make the trip back up. Knight Uretsky did make the trip back up, but he's going back down. So quick little layover back in Eugene for Knight, but he'll have the hometown call of the Pac-12 softball tournament the whole way through as Oregon advances as far as they're going to go into the Pac-12 postseason play. Postseason play for Oregon women's golf. It's in action. Earlier this morning, they got back into the clubhouse a little over an hour ago. Also, senior day for track and field. So what's coming up next after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Over the weekend, it was the regular season finale and senior day for Oregon track and field. At Hayward Field, the Ducks had a lot of stellar results. Oregon had winners in the discus and Jada Ross. Benjamin Ballas took the steeplechase. Melissa Berry in the 1,500 meters. Dahlia Frias in the 5K. Ella Nelson in the 800. Isabella Nielsen in the pole vault. And Colleen Uzokwe in the shot put, the winners for Oregon on senior day. Jada Ross in the discus improved on her lifetime best with 58.53 meters, improves on her third place mark in Oregon history. Melissa Berry secured the Ducks' first win of the day with her victory in the collegiate section of the 1,500. The Eugene native stopped the clock in a new lifetime best of 4 minutes, 22 seconds. 4 minutes and 22.5 seconds while leading a 1-2-3 finish for Oregon in the event, followed by Samantha McDonald and Katie Clute. Then Ballas took more than 4 seconds off of his lifetime best in the 3K steeplechase, crossing the finish line in 8 minutes, 45.36 seconds for the win. He is now the top Pac-12 performer this season at the 3K steeplechase. In the individual section of the 1,500, Maddie Elmore was the top collegian in the field, ran a 4:11.05, good enough for second overall. And then she doubled 30 minutes later to pace the 5K that was won by Dahlia Frias. 15:56.33 for Frias in her outdoor debut. Oregon now looking forward to postseason play in the Pac-12 championship starting this weekend in Boulder, then moving forward towards the East and West preliminary in about a few weeks, 2 weeks from now, and then the NCAA championships at the beginning of June on the 5th through 8th. At Hayward Field. So there are more events, more times you can see the Ducks at Hayward, even though senior day was over the weekend. Also, Oregon women's golf, they were in action today. Their postseason play at the Auburn Regional wasn't the best start for Derek Radley's squad. They were back in the pack, tied for 5th at one point. Top 5 teams move on. Oregon had a strong close to round number 1. Tied for the lead for Oregon with a tie for 8th place overall in the tournament. Sing-Suan Wong and Kiara Romero tied for 8th place at 1 over, and then 3 other Ducks tied at 4 over in the tournament for Oregon as the Ducks continue to move forward in postseason play. Top 5 teams advance from the Auburn Regional. Right now, it's currently Auburn in first place at 2 over par. Then South Carolina in second place, 5 over par. Oregon is in a tie for third place with 3 different teams. So it's Oregon at 10 over, Tulsa at 10 over, Houston at 10 over. So far, those would be the 5 teams that would advance on to the next round of postseason play. Auburn, South Carolina, Oregon, Tulsa, and Houston. North Carolina, the first team back at 12 over par, 2 shots back of that 3-team group between Oregon, Tulsa, Houston, and then Miami, 5 shots back of them at 17 over par. So it looks like it's a 6-team race towards the top unless some teams towards the back of the pack improve on their round 1. Coming up on tomorrow's show, Joey will have you covered. Coach Lombardi will be here in studio. Brooke Robinson, new to the marketing team. Getting to hear from her for the first time. They call her B-Rob Baseball. Yeah, she's all around PK Park. See you then.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warm